So, I am going to be, I have a handout, and if you registered, you might have gotten it. If you go to my website, essenceofself.com, and you go to the bottom of the cover page, there's a way to download that. So you can download it if you're on the computer, you can download it to your phone if it's something that you like. And for those of you that are not computer savvy, I did print out about 10 copies of it.
No, but.
So you just don't have the, to download it. And,
Bill?
should print it out more. Two more, everybody okay?
I don't really hear her, I don't know why. Maybe it's.
Oh, I didn't turn it on yet.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, it is on the, I guess special meeting.
The last time I went, they said, I did it 2 years ago, last time.
Today?
Yeah. The Oswash.
29 kids.
My wife is that straight.
Kids, and then they made his birthday. There were 29 cupcakes and 29 kids. And they iced the whole thing.
All the fast things.
Where? No, I heard about it. It was it. How was it? Beautiful. Yes. When's your birthday? Oh, happy Columbus Day. Not Columbus Day. That's great. Yes. Oh, nice. Lovely. Sounds like we're in church.
Everybody's reading.
So no, this is an apartment? Yes, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Any takers on the house or is it a market? she knows what she's doing. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe she'll just a good, come on, and get, get the word out and stuff.
Hello everyone, thanks for coming. Sorry for the late start, but we had a couple of technical difficulties, meaning that I forgot the microphones at home and I had to go back and get them. So I'll call that technical. Anyway, thanks for being here tonight. Most of the faces I know are familiar, but for the one or two that I don't, we are the Metaphysical Center of New Jersey. We're a nonprofit organization, and we've been around since 1956. That's right. There's an exclamation point on that. And, through the years, the center has grown. In the 70s and 80s, we were quite large. We would have speakers like Ram Dass, Deepak Chopra, etc. And then, of course, during COVID, we quieted down. So now this is a resurgence of the organization, which has existed throughout. And so we are an all-volunteer organization. It is growing nicely, but now we're in a new space, and we're actually growing again. We have some new events coming up, like psychic fairs and vendor fairs, etc. So we need some help. All right, so if anyone wants to volunteer, just a couple of hours here or there, or for one particular event for a couple of hours in the afternoon, please give me a call, okay? We could use all the help we can get, and it is a community, and it's as most of you know, it's a wonderful, loving community, so please join. Okay, so a couple of announcements. The next Saturday night, we do this once a month, and the next one is on November 16th. We have Deborah Ross, and the title is, What's Your JQ? And nobody knows what JQ is, right? That's why the question, what is it? It's actually joy quotient, right? So we all know what IQ is and what EQ is. There are a couple of new ones like PQ, positive intelligence, something I studied last year, AQ, adaptability quotient, but she's going to speak about JQ, joy quotient. And what she's going to do is talk about how joy is connected with spirituality, and there'll be actually some practices and exercises with it. So please, if you can, attend that. The next one will be on December 14th with John Mundy, Living a Lucid Life. Now, I know many of us have had lucid dreams. He's suggesting we live a lucid life. So I'm looking forward to that. Plus, he has some special entertainment for the Christmas holidays, which I'll just keep a secret, and you just come on, show up. It's quite entertaining, I understand. Then on January 25th, we have Patricia Parente, who will be talking about Saint Germain's violet flame energy, and it will be a healing experience. So again, put that in your calendars. And then we are doing, I am doing something special I'm doing a workshop here on November 3rd. I'm a business person, and I do a lot of leadership training, and I'm going to be speaking on improvisational leadership. The essence of it is to integrate business and spirituality. That's really my goal, all right? And I like to bring that to the business world, but it's tough to use the word spirituality in the business world. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I talk about intuition, I talk about right brain versus left brain, I talk about the heart, I talk about communications, and also improvisation, because that's an art form which I've been doing for years that has many spiritual qualities to it. So I'm actually giving a 3-hour presentation on November 12th to a group of CEOs and COOs, and so I thought I'd try it here first. And I'm calling it a fundraiser because we're just going to charge people enough to pay for the rental of the room, all right? And any excess money will go to the center, all right? So you'll be doing me a favor by giving me practice, and hopefully you will get something out of it as well. And also you can take that to your corporations if you want to tell them, hey, I heard about something. So that's November 3rd. All right, otherwise we have lots going on at the center. I mean, Charlie, our vice president, is teaching both Metaphysics 1 and Metaphysics 2. one at the Mystical World in Lyndhurst and the other one at Midland Park. So it's on the website. One is on Monday, one is on Wednesday. So please attend, all right? And you don't have to have Metaphysics 1 to take Metaphysics 2, all right? It's not so strict, all right? So get in touch with Charlie or check it up on the website. We also have meditation circles, which are in the website, and all the events that are coming up. All right, any other announcements that we should be making? Team, anybody?
Yes.
Yes.
If they sign up on the website.
Ah, yes, here we go. Okay, of course. Okay, on the website, you'll notice that there are 2 fees. One if you sign up online, and one if you just come to the door. All right, so we give you a discount if you sign online, because we like to know ahead of time. All right, we want to know how many chairs to put out, how much coffee to bring, and that type of thing. All right, so if you could, it behooves you to do that. You save a few bucks. All right, so yes. $5, not just a few, 5 of them. So don't forget it. We're not talking that will get you almost a Starbucks coffee, right? Almost. All right. So without further ado, what we'll do now is have a brief meditation by Charlie, and then I will introduce our guest speaker for today.
Okay, the mic is on. Is that too loud? Testing, 1, 2, 3. I'll just move it further out. That's better. Okay, we're going to do a short meditation. I thought that since we're on the cusp of the full moon, we would do the Great Invocation, which is a classic full moon meditation. It's used at the Wesak ceremony. It's used all over the world. It was given to us by the Holy Master Dwal Gul. So, if everybody could get in a comfortable position, preferably with your feet flat on the ground, that always helps. If your back is straight, that also helps. It helps with the flow of energy. And we'll begin. Let's relax our minds and our bodies, breathing deeply and gently. Take long, slow, deep breaths. And breathing in, we breathe in peace and serenity and oneness. And breathing out, we exhale any tension or negativity that we may have in our bodies. And just send it down, down, deep into the earth to be neutralized by Mother Earth. Breathing in peace and breathing out tension. Do that 3 more times on your own. The Great Invocation. We'll go through it at least twice. And I'll pause after each line and just repeat it to yourself, barely a whisper, or silently repeat each line to yourself. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into all human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into all human hearts. May the great world teacher return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills. The purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out. And may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light, love, and power restore the divine plan on earth. We'll do it one more time. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into all human minds. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into all human hearts. May the great world teacher return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills. The purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the human race, let the plan of love and light work out. And may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light, love, and power restore the divine plan on earth. Now picture the divine energy, the energy which is stronger at the full moon, flowing down, entering your crown chakra, and filling your whole body with pure golden white light. Now take this energy and bless your homes, bless your workplaces, bless your families and extended families. Anyone who you know may be healing, send this wonderful divine energy out to fill the whole of your body. Bless anyone who you think might need blessing. Your families, anyone who has recently passed on, send them blessings as they continue their journey. Especially to Gloria Mirabello, who left us not all that long ago. May she be blessed on her journey through the higher planes. Forget to bless your homes and fill your whole house with pure golden white light. We affirm that this class and this meditation will be a positive, productive experience for everyone involved and everyone we come in contact with thanks and in full faith. So be it, so be it, so be it. And when you're ready, slowly bring your consciousness back to the room.
definitely. If you haven't already, please silence your phones. All right. So, it gives me great pleasure to introduce you to Nancy Smith. Nancy's a New Jersey licensed massage therapist.
I don't know if yours is mine.
Did I not silence my phone?
No, it might be mine.
Sorry.
It might be mine.
Let me just step away from the other mic. So yeah, Nancy's a New Jersey licensed massage therapist through the Board of Nursing, right? She is dedicated Reiki master, yoga and Ayurveda healer since 2001. Her certifications include massage therapy, Holy Fire Reiki master teacher, registered advanced Ayurvedic practitioner, 1,000-hour yoga therapist, and is a nationally board certified and approved to teach continuing education hours for massage therapy. In addition to offering spa services and class events, Nancy has added an online store which includes her own brand of pure essential oils and all things wellness. She's the owner of the Essence of Life LLC, an Ayurvedic spa focusing on wellness through the senses, and is located in Ringwood Medical Center in Ringwood, New Jersey. And she also has some coffees and teas out in the kitchen area, which you can ask her about, during the break. So we'll have a discussion right now for about an hour or so. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back for some final pieces. I'm happy to introduce Nancy.
Thank you so much for having me. Does it sound okay? All right, we're good. I'm very humbled to be here. I have been very close to many of you for many years, and I'm just so grateful that you invited me to come and speak with you this evening. And there's a long list of things I have done throughout my my learning and things, and I have a lot of certificates. And my husband Bill is here, and I'm very grateful for Bill. And every time I said I need money for something, he says, "Sure, you can have it. I'm going to buy a guitar." So I've got lots of certificates, and he has lots of guitars. So. And I would like to take this moment to thank so many people in my life that have helped and supported me over the years, especially Harriet. And I have two very special friends in the room, Milt Coleman and Jim Angelico. Jim is the one who taught Milt and I the Holy Fire master level of the Reiki. I've been doing Reiki for a long time, and I just needed a little extra, something new, and Milt has been a very dear friend. I created the Reiki program at the Ridgewood YMCA here on Oak Street, two blocks away. And then when I opened my spa 18 years ago, I wasn't able to continue. It was free community service, and Milt was able to help carry that legacy. And then now we have Reiki healing circles at my spa, and there is one next Sunday that Milt and Jim will be doing. So thank you so much for all of your support, and it means a lot to have you here today too. And I'd like to also take a moment to thank my Ayurvedic teacher. His name is Dr. Shekhar Anambotla. He's an Ayurvedic doctor from India who lives now in Pennsylvania. And I would not be standing here speaking with you, and hopefully with my sense of humor that may come out, that he has taught me about speaking and making things fun. Also, as we go along, if anyone has a question, it's a small enough group that if I am talking about something and you want a little bit more clarity on it, please, just kind of ask as we go along. Because sometimes to me, it seems a little simple, but then after we start thinking about things, it can get a little complicated. So as we go along, if you have any questions whatsoever, comfort always has to come first. So whatever makes you comfortable, please do that. And so I'd like to start out by asking people, is anyone new to Ayurveda today? Anyone new to the word? Yeah? Yes? Okay. Yeah? Great. And some people say, oh, that long word, and I don't know how to pronounce it, So, Ayurveda. Think about Ayur life, okay? Ayurveda. Ayur comes from a Sanskrit word called Ayush. That means longevity.
And Veda is the ancient sacred scriptures of Ayurveda, of India, the Vedas. And years and years ago, 5,000 years, whenever they first discovered that they could write some things down, they had rituals for everything. When somebody got married, when some, everything had a ritual, and it was passed down through poetry when they could not write things down. Those are called it's called Sanskrit, and so what it is when they wrote the things down, then they called them the Vedas. And Ayurveda is a booklet out of the Vedas, and it's about how to live a long, healthy, vibrant, happy life. How in Ayurveda we're supposed to live 100 years. Well, how do we make the last couple of those 100 years as healthy and vibrant and magnificent as the first couple of years that we've had? So Ayurveda really is a beautiful way of looking, I call it looking through an Ayurvedic lens, looking at it from an Ayurvedic point of view. And I hope today that you're able to take something home with you. And I'm not really going to read this pamphlet, the document, this little PDF, word for word. But what I do ask, it's like poetry. When you first read something and you read a poem and you're just learning the poem, and then you read the poem for a second time, and then you get more out of it, and it starts to really connect. And then when you read that poem for the third time, all of a sudden you can start to see the little intricate things about the poetry. So that's what I hope that this book, this little booklet will bring to you later on. So it's not really something that you need to follow. Again, it's available on my website, essenceofself.com. And if you go to the bottom of the website, there's a way to download it if you'd like to save it and have it with you in your phone or whatever. So Ayurveda is a science. It's an elemental theory. And do you know what we mean by elemental theory? It means the elements. There are 5 elements. There's space, air, fire, water, and earth. And everything in creation is some combination of these 5 elements. First, you have space. Without any space, nothing can exist. Then the space begins to move. And once it starts to move, it becomes air. So it's about qualities. How do you describe space? How would you describe air? Then what happens? Rub your hands together, right? And what happens? Friction starts to happen. The fire comes. So one element comes, the first element is space, the next one that comes out of that is air. Then from the friction of the air becomes the fire. Then somehow from the fire, it condenses and forms the water. And then when the water condenses, somehow it forms the earth. And so that's how you have the 5 elements. And then that's why one is so very, very light and subtle, and the other one is very, very dense and heavy. Because earth is actually all of the elements that form the earth. And instead of saying 5 elements all the time, 5 elements, they said, well, you know what, let's try to make this a little bit simpler. Let's combine it into 3 words instead of 5 words. So then they decided to take air and space, and they combined it, and they call it a word called Vata. V-A-T-A, Vata. And again, it's just taking all of the characteristics that you would describe air in space. So space is expansive, vast, cold, dark sometimes, except with the little beautiful suns in it, right? And then you take air. Air is all movement, right? So how many directions are there? How many ways do things move? 5. There's 5 directions, okay? Things can go up, things can go down, things expand really far out, things can contract back in, and then things circle around. Okay, so that's air. So Vata would be any way things move. And so that in our human bodies, that would be any way our body moves. Any direction and any function of movement in our bodies, we would consider that Vata. Okay? So then they took fire and water. Fire and water is called Pitta. And the way I like to remember it is fiery pit. Okay? Fire. It's the only one that has heat. So when you're noticing anything that has any kind of heat, In Ayurveda, we would say that has a Pitta quality to it. And so what are we? We are warm-blooded people, right? There's something that always keeps us warm, and that would be the Pitta part of ourselves, okay? Then, and our metabolism, transformation, and eating food and transforming it, and everything that has to do with our digestive fire, right? We even use the word fire for a lot of different things, right? So that would be considered Pitta. Then we have Kapha, earth and water. We take earth and water and form them together, and that would be called Kapha, K-A-P-H-A. And why are we not one big puddle on the floor? Why are we just not like, what's holding us? What is giving us structure? What's holding us together? That is considered Kapha, the structure of our body. So then we have, being that everyone has all three of these, they're called doshas, these energies, right? So, but why aren't we all the same? Why aren't we all identical twins? Why isn't everybody exactly the same if we have all three of them? Because we're all little milkshakes. Some of us have a little bit more airiness to us, right? Some of us have a little bit more fire. Some of us have a little bit more earth. Some of us have almost the same air and fire. Some of us have almost the same, maybe earth and fire. So, but we're all, every one of us is a little beautiful divine creation of a milkshake, of some of the doshas. And when you know who you are, and you know what your main characteristics are, and you live closest to that, you have the best, you feel the best, and you have the best wellness. And that's why Ayurveda becomes very, very it's about self-realization, realizing who you are. Ayurveda and yoga are sister sciences, and they're both about self-realization. But when it comes to yoga, you think, well, how do I feel when I'm in mountain? How do I feel when I'm in half moon? How do I feel when I'm in all the different yoga poses? It's about realizing. How do I feel when my breath, when I'm doing a stronger breath? How do I feel when I'm relaxing my breath with the pranayama? So yoga is about bringing in about self-realization. And so Ayurveda is about self-realization as well. But the only difference is it brings it more into your lifestyle. Where how do you feel when you eat a chili pepper? How do you feel when you see the color red? How do you feel when you smell a rose? So Ayurveda just brings it into more of a lifestyle kind of thing, where you start looking at things in a different way, right? So now, and again, thank you coming out on a Saturday evening, and how you feel on a Saturday evening versus on a Saturday morning, and how do you feel? How do you feel about all these different things? So what I'd like to do is to give you a little bit of an experience of trying to wake you up a little bit, trying to help you to because you're right now, we're in a transitional mode. It's called a Pitta mode, because you're learning and you're listening and you're trying to retain. And anytime we're in a learning environment, that fire is working within all of us right now. So what I would like for you to do is come into a comfortable seated position and just noticing your breath, noticing what it's like to breathe in and what it's like to breathe out, and noticing how you're feeling on this beautiful fall evening. And it is evening, so we do feel a little bit different in the evening. We consider this Kapha time, getting ready to settle down and eventually work our way into sleeping at some point later in a few hours, right? So now noticing your breath, and then breathing into the bottom part of your lungs, and then breathing up into the middle section of your lungs, and then breathing up to the top of your lungs. And now I'd like for you to quicken your breath a little. Breathing deeply, and just start to breathe a little bit quicker. And now start to breathe a little bit with that exhale, with a ha. Ha. Can you feel the ha bringing you a little strength? And you don't even have to say it out loud. Say it just to yourself. Sometimes you're in a position where you can't say things out loud. But even if you do it inside, quietly, you can still, can you feel you changing from the breath work? Okay? This is why we call it a practice. There's an action. And now noticing, just from that simple little experience, how do you feel? Do you feel a little bit different than you did 3 minutes ago? Did it take a long time? No, but it took something. It took action. It took some kind of action. And that's what Ayurveda is about, and yoga, and all of these other beautiful modalities, be it with Reiki or the other beautiful things that people do. It starts with an intention, but you can still have the intention, but if you don't do the action, then you're not really going to have the shift and the changing. So it's important to know that we have to create some kind of practice, and we have to create some kind of activity in order to change. Now, the one thing about Ayurveda is that its opposite characteristics bring balance. So whatever it is, in your own divine wisdom, whatever you may be feeling, and you stop and you scan your body and you say, in my divine wisdom, based on what I'm feeling, what opposite characteristic would be helpful for me? But one thing is knowing it, and one thing is actually applying it. You know, you could read thousands of books in your lifetime, but if you never apply anything you've ever read, then you have the knowledge, but where is it? So this is why it's called a practice, because we're practicing. You know, we practice yoga, we practice Reiki, we practice all of these beautiful modalities. Okay, so just to give you a little bit of historical background, that they had a great medical conference thousands and thousands of years ago, and they asked all of the beautiful healers of the time to come together, and they formed the first medical textbook called the Charaka Samhita. And there's a medical schools in India to this day where people are learning to become Ayurvedic doctors. They have to go through the same 4 years of dissection and anatomy and all of that the allopathic doctors learn. But then there's a path where they would go off and do allopathic medicine, and the Ayurvedic would go into Ayurvedic medicine. And these textbooks are still used in the schools of India today. And I have been blessed to meet so many beautiful Ayurvedic doctors. And I met a beautiful young, about 2 years ago, I go to Ayurvedic conferences often, and there was a beautiful 23-year-old Ayurvedic doctor visiting from India, and she had just graduated from the school. So I know that people are still learning Ayurvedic medicine and becoming doctors in India. And I'm very, if I wanted to become an Ayurvedic doctor at this stage of all of the knowledge that I have, I would still need to do 4 years of medical school semesters of learning all of these diseases. And I'm at a point where I don't know if I would be able to sleep at night. Or going, you know, so I think I'm really fine where I'm at and at the level that I have. And I have been doing this for 18 years, and I've been talking about Ayurveda for quite some time. So there's also another textbook that they wrote called the Charaka Samhita, which is the surgery textbook that they wrote things down. There was in a kingdom, the king lost his nose in battle, and then someone had to give up their nose in the kingdom so that the king could have a nose. And I don't know, this is all the story. They get you to remember things, right? But in this textbook that they wrote so many thousands of years ago, there's still things that they use in surgery today. There's still some of the things that they've learned. And even the allopathic medicine, with going back to Hippocrates, he has 3 body types. And he got them from the Ayurveda, from the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and he just changed them. Endomorph, I forget exactly, but what's that? Mesomorph, and ectomorph, right? So, but if you really look at those characteristics and you really look at the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they're very, very similar. And Hippocrates says that massage was very beneficial in health. I like that saying, because you know, that's what I like to do in my lifetime, the massages that I do. So then, and then they wrote another textbook, which Astanga Hidraya means heart. That's where the pharmaceutical and all of the herbal medicine starts to come in. So there's a whole nother booklet that has all of the different formulas of what combination of herbs would you use for this particular thing, or with all the treatments and things. So that's where the pharmaceutical Astanga Hidraya, Hridaya, Astanga. It's the therapeutic herbs and formulas and advanced information on how to use metals and minerals. Yeah, and again, it's really thousands of years old. I'm sorry there's no page numbers on this, but it's probably like the second page on the bottom. And so, and then after an Ayurvedic doctor would complete, then they have choices to go off and become into specialties, like similar to what our doctors have, the allopathic ones. There's internal medicine, there's surgery, ears, nose, and throat, pediatrics, toxicology. Now think about India. Do you know how many things in India, toxicology, with the scorpions and the snakes and all of the poisonous things that they could possibly be? I mean, that's an amazing undertaking in and of itself to be a specialist in that. Then they have gynecology, and then health and longevity. That's called Rasayana Tantra. And then it's spiritual healing. So the health and longevity, again, is what we really work with through Ayurvedic and through working and helping ourselves. And then the spiritual healing, again, the roots of Reiki, the key is word for Reiki is 2 words, means universal energy. So we're working with the key, but then that's Japanese, and it's also Korean. But then when you take that same word and you go into China, it becomes Qi. We have Tai Chi and Qigong. But then when you go into India, the word turns to prana. And that's where you would have pranic healing. Like the beautiful center where you are, right? Pranic healing. But would you say love and amore are 2 different things? No, right? It's just a different language. So that's why the ki and the chi and the prana, it's this life force that's within all of us. And it's just, and then what happens is the cultural changes. So Reiki will have this beautiful cultural flair, and you may play Japanese music in the background when you're doing your intentions with that. And if you were doing Chinese things, you may have some Chinese music playing. And then if you're doing Ayurvedic, you may have some beautiful Ayurvedic, Indian music playing with the culture. So it's the beautiful cultures that start to come into all of these different modalities. That's what starts to make them different approaches because of that. But when you come down to the source of it all, this beautiful life force that comes from our breath, that comes from our senses, that comes from this existence, is really quite amazing. And so then there's 2 parts of ourselves. There's our immune system that keeps us healthy. We call that Ojas in Ayurveda. And then there's the weak immunity that happens from different effects, cause and effect. All of this is cause and effect. This action will have this effect. This action will have this effect. So ama is when we accumulate some things in our body that really are meant to be with us. That because of choices that we do like, even though they may not be serving us, then in the long run, that we may feel the effects of that, and it may not make us feel so well. And some things really enhance the vibrancy of ourselves, and some things will diminish the vibrancy within ourselves. And it's just about watching and then taking action to see if we and the whole thing is, when we can see some things changing, we can take actions to balance things out. Okay? So, the 5 senses. So we're talking about balancing the rhythms of life, all of these different fluctuations, and we're talking about the 5 senses. Okay? So, who knows what the 5 senses are? Right? Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, and touch. Okay? So, touch is pretty much all over the body, right? But where are all of the senses primarily located? In the head, and that's why we say it's all in the head. Okay, so, and we have two things about us. We have this innate knowledge that we're born with. Okay, is anybody here having to constantly tell their heart to keep beating? Right? What keeps our heart beating? There's some innate knowledge that we're born with that knows how to work this entire beautiful system of this human body. It's really quite amazing, right? So then we have our consciousness, our awareness. And now here's the question. Since the moment that you were conceived and all the experience that has happened to you since that moment, and when your senses were actually created and start to take in information, to you where you are right now, on this very moment, right now, in this room, at this moment of your life, everything in your consciousness of what you know, how did it get there? You saw something, you heard something, you smelled something, tasted something, right? Through your five senses. So the five senses is our knowing, awareness, and our consciousness. Okay? So just, isn't that cool? I think that's amazing when you look at it that way. And so, and we're talking about elements. Every sense has an element attached to it. So now what do you think hearing is? It's air. Because the sound comes through the air. And it's picked up by our sense of hearing, and it's translated into sound. And we hear the different sounds. Okay? Air. And then eyes, what do you think the eyes are? When somebody's looking at you, like we could be mad at you, what do you say? The fire of the eyes. Ooh, I said, you know. And the coolest thing about colors is that they don't really exist. It's when the vibration of our eyes pick it up, and it's interpreted to be blue or green and things. And my brother is colorblind. So if you take a very dark sock and you put, he told me, he goes, if you took a dark brown, dark green, dark purple, dark, he can't tell the difference. They're all black. Because in his eyes, he cannot pick up that subtle vibration to say whether it's a dark brown or a dark green sock. Okay? So then, and so then you have, what's the nose? The nose is earth element. And that's aromatherapy, right? And then the taste, what's always in our mouth? Water. If you pat your tongue and you try to eat something, you really don't have any real taste that you can taste. You need the water. And then touch. Touch is space. Okay? You know how we say, get out of my space? Give me some space. You know? And space is amazing, because there are people that we meet that we want to bring so close to us. We just want to bring them in so close to us. And there's other people we don't want to come near us with a 10-foot pole. Right? So this is the senses, to knowing all of these beautiful senses. And then, so again, that's how we tie it into that elemental theory with the Vata and the Pitta and the Kapha. And there's qualities of our minds. And so if you were to be in a pleasant kind of state of mind, we would consider that to be sattva. So I'm not sure if you ever heard of some of these words, but things that are sattvic are very sacred and very like clear and understanding and peaceful and calm. And then we have a word called rajasic. All right, so sattva is the essence of space and air. Okay? Then you have rajasic, which is transformation, which has a little bit of the fire element to it, which can be a little bit uncomfortable, but that's the transformation. So there's moments in our thinking where we could be a little rajasic. Like right now, you're being a little rajasic because you're trying to understand what I'm saying, you're trying to take it in, and again, you're trying to do this on a Saturday night at the end of the week. So, right? And then you have something called tamas, and tamas energy is part of the earth, has the earth element to it. So that's the one that helps us to fall asleep at night. And then that's what's missing in insomnia. when people have trouble sleeping, is that earthy energy that we need to help fall asleep. But we don't just go from one place to the other. So the way I explained that the qualities of our mind, and to change, like if we are feeling a little tired, to try to get us to feel a little lighter, there's the rajasic energy. So it's like the sun shines all through the day, and then what do we have in the morning and in the evening? We have the sunrise and the sunset. That's the rajasic time, because it's changing. We just don't go instantly from day and instantly to night. So that's the rajasic energy. And then it's held for a while, and then the transformation comes and it's held for a while. So those are the qualities of the mind. And so what I'd like to do is I would like to have you come into a comfortable seated position, and I want to guide you through a nice little meditation on the senses. Okay? So, noticing what it's like to breathe in and what it's like to breathe out. Okay? And noticing your breath. Noticing what is your peaceful breath. Asking yourself, what does it mean to breathe a peaceful breath? And then bringing your awareness to thinking about one of the most wonderful things you've ever seen. And to see if it comes up like a picture show. It doesn't have to be one thing. It's noticing as you start thinking, this comes to mind and this one comes to mind. But noticing, asking yourself, what is one of the most pleasant things? Okay? And noticing, bringing your awareness to the hearing. Noticing what is one of the most pleasant things you've ever heard? And what's your favorite music? Or maybe someone's favorite voice, or one of the nicest things you've ever heard someone say to you. You know, just noticing. And then thinking about smelling. What's your favorite scent? So anything that comes to mind, or a few things that may come to mind. And then how about your favorite food? If something put in front of you and like, oh, that is my favorite taste. What would that be like? And then think about your favorite temperature. If there was a beautiful day outside and you walked outside and you're like, this is just the perfect temperature. And noticing how you're feeling, thinking about all of these pleasant things. And then slowly coming back into the room and noticing how you feel now. Do you feel more pleasant? Yes? Okay? Now, how long did that take? 2 minutes? Isn't it amazing? It doesn't, people's like, I don't have time. I don't have time. Oh, I don't have time. Right? But now you just realized, right? So the teaching of Ayurveda and yoga is that the energy follows our minds. And if I asked you to tell me all the pleasant things that are going on in your life, how do you think you're going to feel a minute from now? 2 minutes from now, keeping it up, 5 minutes from now, an hour from now, a day from now? Okay? So whatever it is that we are thinking, our energy will follow our minds, right? Now if I ask you the same question, tell me some of the things that are troubling you. Okay? How are you going to feel a minute from now? 5 minutes from now. Okay? We can't change the past. All we can work with is the now. So now Ayurveda, that's when we always say, treat the now. Treat the now. Okay? Right now. What's going on right now? And so isn't it a beautiful teaching right there? And that's one thing that you walk away with. It's amazing. When I learned that, it really changed my life. And so with the 5 elements, every cell in our body has the 5 elements within it. How many cells are in the human body? Any idea?
A lot.
Trillions. Isn't it amazing? just trillions, right? And the cell membrane is the earth. The vascules within the cell is space. The cytoplasm is the water. The nucleic acid and all the chemical components is the fire. And the movement, all cells move. Everything is constantly moving. Nothing is ever staying still, right? And that would be the air. And that's how they say that man is a miniature. What's within us is the same as what's outside of us. But the only thing that makes us different is we're droplets. We're droplets. This body is a little droplet. That's an amazing thing, you know. But the divineness that's within is the same as that's out. And the amazing thing I learned a while ago was about, you know, people ask, like, do we exist? Once we leave our bodies, do we exist? You know, that's a big question, and there's a lot of talk about that, right? But now think of a drop of water, okay? What's different about that drop of water versus the whole ocean? Is that it's been separated away from the ocean and it's existing by itself as a little drop. But what's inside that drop of water? Is that any different than what's inside the ocean? No. And if you take that drop of water and you put it back into the ocean, does it stop existing? No, it just went back into the water, right? So I like that teaching, because that really is amazing to help us understand that we come from the everything, but yet we exist in these beautiful droplets until the point comes when we don't, and when that happens, we just go back to that, okay? So there's characteristics, okay? And there's 20 characteristics that they really want us to work on. There's lots of opposites, lots and lots of opposites. But they just want you to say, well, let's focus on these 10 opposites, these 10 qualities and their opposites. So in the handout, there's these, it's heavy, if something's heavy and light, oily and dry, stable and mobile, slimy and rough, gross and subtle, cold and hot, slow and sharp, soft and hard, dense and liquid, and cloudy and clear. So for those of you that will want to, you know, be looking through it, I did put like heavy, there's a K next to it, which means it's Kapha, where light is Vata. So again, you can look at these. And then I just talked a little bit about Vata. Vata is resembling the wind. So anytime that we have anxiety and things like that, and any kind of movement. So if you look at things about as far as being imbalanced, if somebody's had a little bit of shaking, like Parkinson's, we would say that would be a Vata imbalance. And then you would address things to try to calm down the nervous system with the shaking. And then you have Pitta, which is fiery, and all of the characteristics. And it's very, people that are out of balance, at that point, they can be very strong, forceful, angry, kind of hard to deal with at times, you know, things like that. And then you have the Kapha people, and when Kapha goes out of balance, Kapha people, they get very stubborn. They're so earthy, and it takes a lot to rile them, but they can get riled, but they will wait, and they will wait and be a little stubborn on things. So when you just learn the different qualities about Vata, Pitta, Kapha, then you could see what you think you are. Okay. And on the break, if anybody would like me to take their pulse, I do a pulse analysis where I can give you an idea of what's going on. So if you want to see me on the break, I'd be happy to do that for you. Okay. So again, there's 10 unique doshas combinations. So some people are Vata, some people are Vata Pitta, some people are Vata Kapha. Then you have Pitta, then you have Pitta Vata, Pitta Kapha, then you have Kapha, you have Kapha Vata, Kapha Pitta, and Tridosha. So it's a matter of, the three of them are all in a dance together, but one wants to run the show, and one always wants to be in charge. So that you got to see what's going on, which is the strongest dosha. So that's the same thing with the seasons that are going on right now. the change in seasons, there's one main characteristics that happen during each of the seasons. So summer, which is the most prominent energy in the summer? Heat, right? So that's why we would call that Pitta season, because it's the one that's hot. Now, fall is considered Vata season. Vata, everything is drying out and getting very windy, and things are turning to dust, right? And things are turning cold. So that's why we would call the fall, and the first part of winter, we would call it Vata. Now think about snow. In the Vata season, how dry and cold, and if it does rain, think about how the snow can be soft and fluffy and really like a very, very soft and airy. That kind of snow, right, that we would get in the beginning of the season. Then on February 1st, it changes over, and then we become into the springtime, which is Kapha. But then Kapha is different. Kapha is wet and cold. So then what kind of snow would we get then? We would get more heavy, more slushy, more watery. See how just different characteristics are involved? So then, so because there's only 3 doshas and there's 4 seasons, the winter gets broken up between half and half. And then the beautiful thing is about the season of the year, right now, in Ayurveda and in a lot of the Scandinavian countries, they go by the Arcadian rhythm, which is so in November 1st is considered the first day of winter. And then February 1st is the first day of spring. Because it's when the shift changes to move toward the season. And what we do here is we go by the sun. We go from the shortest day of the year to the longest day of the year, and the equinox were equal day and light, night and dark, right? The equinox. But that's what we follow. But on the 21st of June, for the longest day of the year, it's already hot. The heat's already here. But May 1st is the first day of summer. And do you know how you may know it? Do you ever hear of the maypole? People dancing around the maypole? Guess what? That's the first day of summer celebration, right? And I kind of like that. So I'm getting ready already for 2025, and I am ready for November 1st to be my new year, okay? And that's where Halloween comes from, and it's the end of the year. It's the death of the year. The year is finishing on October 31st. The harvest is done, things are done. So that's why November 1st is the first day of winter, and it's the first day of the new year. So that I think that's a really fun thing, fun fact, right? And I like it because spring starts on February 1st. I like that idea. And then summer starts on May 1st. And you know, on August 1st is the first day of fall. Do you know how there's some evenings in August where you could feel like fall is in the air, right? So again, what I love about the Ayurveda is hopefully whatever I'm saying isn't something you're learning for the first time. Somehow we innately all know this already. So again, at a later date, you might want to read some of these different kind of things and see which one that you feel like you may be. Okay. I tend to be Pitta. Yeah, pretty much Pitta for the most part. That one always seems to run my show. My husband's like, yeah, yeah. And he would call. We've been married for 42 years. So I'm going to be 62 next Wednesday, and I married him at 20. And he would call PMS, pack my suitcase. So just to let you know, that man's a saint. It's been enough to live with me all of these years, and he volunteered to come along for the ride. So, but we have to love ourselves, right? We have to love ourselves. So again, and then what I do, one of the really amazing things about the handout is there's a way that we use taste, okay? There's 6 tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, and astringent, okay? And an Ayurvedic meal would have all 6 tastes on your plate. So the sweet would be the rice, the sour would be lemon or lime juice, salt would be Himalayan pink salt, because again, it's Himalayan pink salt from from India. And then pungent would be ginger or pepper or chili peppers or something spicy, right? And then bitter is any green leafy vegetable, like spinach or any of the green leaf. There's some of them that are really bitter, like bitter gourd and things like that. Broccoli rob's bitter, right? And then an astringent. Astringent is kind of like the hardest one that people to understand, but it's the skin on the beans. All the beans the skin is astringent. Any unripened fruit. You ever have a green banana that you bite into and it's kind of chalky and dry? That's astringent taste. So it's learning about all of the taste and the effects that these have, and then using the combinations to help you feel better through your food. So an Ayurvedic meal would have all 6, but then if you wanted to balance Vata, so you were feeling a little nervous, anxious, or a little unsettled energetically, then you would use sweet and sour and salty. Add a little bit more of those, and that will help bring that energy change. The characteristics will help change that. And then I remember for Pitta, if you're feeling a little heated. Now, if you're heated, the lightness of something will keep the lightness of something. So if you're feeling hot, and you eat a Mexican chili meal that's hot, right? It's like, it's not going to help. It could turn you into a firecracker, okay? And that's where you need sweet, bitter, and astringent tastes, because those qualities of those kind of tastes will help cool. They have cooling properties. And what all of the tastes have elements. So sweet is earth and water. Those are the elements. And so think about earth and water. And if you have a lot of sweets, earth and water is heavy, yes? And if you have a lot of sweets, it will make the body heavier, right? Then you have sour. Sour is earth and fire, okay? And so that's why if you're feeling a little light and nervous and everything, the earth is in the sour. And then, and fire is warming. So sour has a warmingness to it. And that's why lemons, right? Lemons are sour, right? And they're warming. And then you have salty. Salty is water and fire, salt. And then, so every time you have salt, it's going to increase your water. It's going to help you retain water. And that's the thing with too much salt with your high blood pressure, if you have blood pressure problems, because the pressure is the amount of fluid and everything, and the power of the fluid, that's going into your heart. And then salt, adding that water and that fire element just can raise your blood pressure. So that's why you want to be careful with that one. And then pungent is fire and air. Pungent. So it's hot, right? It's spicy. But then all of a sudden there's this airiness to it, right? So like all of a sudden you eat, and then and you can sometimes, depending on the pungency, it builds and it gets more and more, right? The more expansive, like the air, right? So pungent is fire and air. And then you have bitter, which is space and air. And then you have astringent, which is space and fire. Okay? So that's how all of these help with the taste. And then you might want to read, again, I have a little bit about Vata and what a Vata meal would look like, and the Kapha in here too. And also in the handout, which is really amazing, is Dr. Lad. Dr. Lad is the Ayurvedic doctor he was in Albuquerque, now he moved to North Carolina, and he's been fine in Nashville. But Dr. Lad is Ayurveda.com, and he was my very first Ayurvedic teacher at the School of Kripalu. I was the first graduating class of the Kripalu School of Ayurveda in 2000. I started in 2005 and graduated 18 months, 1 week in a month for 18 months. I went to Kripalu and graduated in June of 2006. And Dr. Ladd came at least 4 or 5 times of those weekends, and he was our opening up. And he said to us that night, I am going to teach you about 3 words, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. You are learning them tonight for the first time, and one day you may be doing a PhD, and you're still going to be talking about Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. Okay? And then he mentioned, learn the 20 qualities, the 10 opposites, concentrate on them. And what I have here in the handout is Dr. Ladd's food guidelines, okay? So again, we have all three. One day we could be feeling like, and especially the time of year, in the Vata time of year, that's the predominant energy. So then we would want to, if you're feeling fine, you could eat for the seasons, like Vata season or Pitta season or Kapha season. So what I would like, if you are going to be finding the handouts, in it, there's the food guidelines. There's a column that says, there's two columns saying avoid and favor, and there's Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and each one has their own, and it's an amazing handout. It's fruits, vegetables, grains, legumes, dairy, animal food, condiments, nuts, seeds, oil, beverages, herbal teas, spices, sweeteners, and food supplements. It's really an amazing thing. And so what I ask people to do when I give them this list, I said, go down the list, say you're some women are going through hormonal changes like menopause, and they're having hot flashes, right? You hear the word hot, so you know it's Pitta. There's definitely a Pitta thing going on. So then you would look in the Pitta category, and you would try to avoid some of the foods, and a lot of them would be heating to the body. And then it tells you the suggestions of the foods that would be cooling for your body. And just go down the list and circle all the things that you like to eat, all the things that you like in that list. And then the next thing you need to do is to go out to the grocery store and buy them, so that you have them in the house. You can't eat what you don't have. And the first thing is you circle all the ones that you like, so that when you do buy them, you like them, and then you come home, and if you like them, you're more, but then you're actually eating them knowing that at the same time you're using some little Ayurvedic theory to go along with it to help balance things out. Okay? So then, and so then also, there's the taste, and then we go into learning about, there's some tips I wanted to just go over you, how to enhance your body's intelligence. So today's food is tomorrow's intelligence. And do you know how you know that's true? Have you ever been to a wedding and you overate and overdid some things, and you woke up the next morning and you went, oh my goodness. All right? So what you are eating today will affect how you feel tomorrow. But so basically, how you feel today, the first question is, what did I eat yesterday? Okay, what did I put into my body? What influences? Because everything has an influence. Blueberries will have an influence. Chili peppers will have an influence. Different things will have an influence. So you just have to realize, and it's not so much, it's more about the quantity of what you're having. They say all food is medicine, but yet all food can be poison. So what does that mean? It means the person who's eating it, and whether or not they have an allergy. If somebody is allergic to strawberries, well, that's not going to be medicine for that person, okay? So this is where you have to know yourself, self-realization. So how are you with some things, and are you sensitive to some things? And so this is what Ayurveda is about, self-realization, about how you feel when you eat the different things, okay? So, so to enhance the body's intelligence is all the 6 tastes at every meal. Eat in a quiet, settled, comfortable environment. You know how many people eat in their cars, driving their car, and drinking their coffee and driving their nut, right? I'm just saying, it's again, the environment. And talking about the innateness of ourselves, okay? The teaching about, we were talking about the consciousness that we have from our senses, right? But we're born with an innate intelligence. And the way that they teach that is about, think of a mango seed, okay? Within that mango seed is a divine intelligence to grow into a magnificent mango tree. It's just sitting there waiting. But what does it need? It needs the right environment. Can you take that mango seed and plant it in Maine? Will it grow? It won't grow. It's a tropical plant. It needs warmth. It needs the tropical weather in order for it to grow. So it will just sit there in the dirt in Maine and won't be able, it's not the right environment for it. But if you take that same mango seed and plant it in Florida, it could grow, right? So again, the innateness and then we are divine, and where, what do we need? What is the environment that we need? And so that's why we have to discover who we are, and then use this divine intelligence within us to try to make the best decisions for ourselves. Now, who knows? Who's the one that makes the choices? Who's the one that knows? Anyone outside of ourselves kind of can take an educated guess. But who lives with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, knows every thought, every emotion, every desire, everything? Who's the one that knows? You do. So this is why Ayurveda is about self-realization. Because people can influence you. No doubt people can influence you. But I can never take any credit when I work with anyone, whether it's an Ayurvedic massage or whatever I do, I can never take any credit for any change that happens because that person is choosing to make the change. I can influence though. If somebody has a tight muscle, I can influence that muscle by pressing on it and maybe, hopefully, getting it to relax. But the actual relaxing of that muscle is the person's body responding to that and relaxing. So that's why I call it essence of self. Essence of self is who are you and what is the best for you, and try to make the best choices you can. And then so Ayurveda just gives you lots and lots of suggestions with that. And so we want to try to eat. Only eat when you feel hungry. Don't eat when you're upset. They never eat at a funeral in India. When people are grieving, there is no food served because you don't want to be eating in that emotional, you don't want to eat in that emotional state. It's just quite amazing. Try to always sit down when you're eating. Try to reduce ice not completely reduce ice, but not to have the glasses of ice that they bring you. Maybe one ice cube might be okay, but the ice thing, because again, we need our digestive fire. And what is ice cold water going to do to the fire? It's going to dim it. And then the vibrancy can't, and then we lose the vibrancy of our digestion. And then, and eating earlier in the day is really important as well, because when I tell people, they say, it makes sense when I talk, but anyway, if we eat at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and have a nice meal, what position is our body, for the most part, going to be in? We're going to be standing up or sitting up, right? Gravity. So we eat, and for the next few hours, like say we go to bed at 10 o'clock at night, we're going to be pretty much up, right? So the gravity helps move down. So now you have a really big meal at 8 o'clock at night. And what are you going to do about 9, 10 o'clock at night? You're going to go horizontal, okay? So now where's the gravity going? It's going out this way. Okay? So it's just timing, cause and effect. So they said that, so if you eat, like have your dinner for lunch and have your lunch for dinner. So having a soup and half a sandwich in the evening is a whole lot lighter. So this way, when you do go to lay down, you're not having all of that digested energy versus having the heavier meal. So does that make sense? Yes. Okay. And so then there's a beautiful tea, cumin, coriander, and fennel. And if you equal parts, you get the seeds and you just kind of boil cumin, coriander, and fennel, and that's really, really good for your digestion. They call that tender loving care tea or something like that. So, and then we want to try to minimize what's called flung foods, the processed ones, frozen, leftovers, unnatural, nuked, canned. The thing is you have to eat, okay? And you're hungry. So your first choice is as close to this natural source as you can be. So if there's an apple, your first choice, if you're craving apple, right? And the first choice would be have a real apple, but you don't have it. Well, then the next choice would be applesauce that you might have in the cupboard. Okay? You're still hungry, you want to eat, so you're going to eat the applesauce. But again, it depends what your choices are at the moment. Okay, so you want your first things to be closest to its natural source and fresh, then frozen, and then if there's nothing in frozen, then you want to go to the canned things. But again, if you're hungry and that's all you have, you need to eat. Okay, so it's just a matter of providing, that's where we're making that list and doing the shopping and having the foods in the house. And that's the biggest problem is when we fall behind and we don't have the food in the house, and then we're like, oh, why don't we call the pizzeria, or why don't we call the Chinese? You know what I'm saying? And those beautiful people that you're so happy to come to the door with. So again, we just want to try to minimize some of these things in our diet. And eating the rainbow, eat the rainbow. I love those little potato packets that you can get with those purple ones and white ones and all the different colored potatoes. Eat the rainbow. Try to have the rainbow on your plate. All the different colored peppers and different colors. So when you shop, try to shop the rainbow. Okay? And then, because all of the pigments in the plant have the different vitamins and minerals with the different colors. And so today's nutrition is tomorrow's intelligence. And when our fire, this vibrancy within us is strong, that's when we have the best health. Okay? And so then I do want to teach you a little bit about the pulse. So if you can try to find your heartbeat, like either on your neck or on your wrist. So just see if you can find your heartbeat. Okay, so all of the things, this happens with all of the senses, okay? And feel free to check out the scents and the essential oil and things like that later. But just noticing the pace of your everyone finding their heartbeat? Okay? So you want to see, is it leaping like a frog? Boom, ba boom, ba boom, or is it fast or is it slow? What characteristics are there? So is it leaping like a frog, or is it barely there, moving very slow? If it's moving very slow, it's Kapha, okay? Like very slow. But if it's leaping like a frog and strong, it's Pitta. And then is it quick and maybe fluttering a little bit, and that would be considered Vata, okay? So again, this is just the best time to check your pulse is first thing in the morning before you wake up. Because again, if you take your pulse, if you wake up and you have a cup of coffee that has caffeine in it, okay, and then you take your pulse, you're going to be feeling the effect of the caffeine. So really, the best way, if you really just want to get to know your pulse and get to know what's going on, so, and again, if it feels like sleeping like a frog and you know that there's Pitta going on. And if it's fluttery, there's some Vata going on. And then if it's slow, you know that there's some Kapha going on. And then you would know and if you know that you're not feeling quite right and you just don't know, treat Vata. So that's when you go into the Vata food. If you just don't know, and if you just can't figure it out, because Vata is all movement. Vata is what brings things up, and Vata is the movement of changing things around. So when you want to, so when you really just can't figure anything out, always just treat Vata, right? So so what you do is you find your pulse, and then you take one of the scents there, and then you see, with all of the senses, it's either going to quicken your pulse because it's going to stimulate you in some way, or it's going to slow your pulse down, which would be relaxing you in some way, or it may do nothing. So when you, with the sense, you find your pulse and then smell and wait and see if it changes. And then if it, like lavender, is supposed to be relaxing, but with this test that I've been doing with people for lavender, some people get revved up by it. So that means that it's stimulating for them. And some, like lemon, sometimes lemon, it's supposed to be stimulating, but for some people, it's relaxing. So this is how you would know. And you could do it in the perfume counter. You could do it anywhere with any kind of smells. You know, and even you might want to do it with colors. Like look at this and then look at the color red and see what happens. And look at the color blue. And then maybe with music, you take your pulse and listen to some music. And then there's going to be music that may make you want to jump up and dance. And there's other music that are going to make you fall asleep, right? So this is how you use your pulse with all of the 5 senses, okay? And then, and then I just want to go over just the time of our lives, okay? When we're first born, the structure is growing. So we would consider that Kapha time of life. So from the time we're born to the time we reach teenage, where the hormones kick in, right? What are hormones in the body? They're fire, okay? And all pregnant women are very, very warm because they have a lot of hormones going on when their body's kicking in to make those beautiful children. And so Kapha time is the beginning, and then when we turn into teenagers, then we go into the Pitta time of our lives. That's where we learn, that's when we go to school, that's when we go into careers, that's when we have families, this is when we have responsibility, and all those things happen. Then somewhere around 50 to 60, then we start to shift and go into the Vata stage of our lives. So from between 50 and 60, and then after that, the rest of our lives is considered the Vata stage of our lives. And guess which of the 3 doshas win in the end? Vata wins, because we turn to dust in the end, right? So that's why it's important as we get older and things start to stop, things start to dry out, the elasticity of our skin. What's the difference of our skin versus a teenage person versus my skin at 62? Well, they have a lot more moisture to it because the skin changes as we age. That's how we can tell as we get older. So things change, and that's why putting oil on our bodies every day, as we get older, the moisturizing creams that we like, or Sophia Loren. I saw a beautiful thing about Sophia Loren, and they said, "What is your beauty secret?" She says, "Olive oil, inside and out." And she was drinking olive oil, and she says she puts olive oil on her skin every single day. And she had to be about 80 in this interview, and she looked amazing. Okay, so what's the opposite of dryness? Moisture, oil. So that's why it's important to take care of ourselves with things it's a change, right? And then so that's the life. And then there's different times of the day. We feel different in the morning, like I talked about earlier, versus the evening. And so there's when we first wake up, we're kind of tired, like from 6 in the morning to 10 in the morning. It's called Kapha time. And what's the opposite of that? We have to get up, we have to get ourselves going. That's why exercising and doing a good work at that time of the day. But then at night, from 6 to 10 at night is Kapha time of the day. But that's when we don't want to do too much exercise. We want to get ready to calm ourselves down so we can go to sleep. So then and then at 10 in the morning to 10 to 2, that's the fire time of day. And during the day, our digestion can be an oven. We can eat things and digest it. But from 10 to 2 at night, that's the Pitta time of day. But that's when all the transformation in our bodies, the liver starts to coat things. So that's why you don't want a lot of food to be digested at that time. And then you have the Vata time, 2 in the afternoon to 6 is Vata time in the afternoon. Well, what's moving at that time? Our lunch is moving all through our intestines, right? It's moving. But at night, what's moving in Vata time is the absorption, and all of the nutrients are moving into our body for health. So there's different times of day, and then the different times of the year. So with that, we're going to get ready to have a nice break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to have some time for question and answers, and then I like to also do some more experiential meditations and things based on what people are any questions people have, and so right now, it's time to take a little bit of a break, okay?
So folks, there's a bathroom here, which you probably found. The ones downstairs, we don't have a key for tonight for some reason, so we're gonna have to make our way to the one bathroom. So take about 10-15 minute break, help yourself to some refreshments in the kitchen, and then we'll be back in a few minutes.
This left hand is for food. Yeah. Vata and Pitta are pretty much equal. They can go either way, depending on the situation. You can get very frustrated, or you can get really stubborn. Pitta is definitely one that comes to show.
We know that we just don't think about it. Take care. Good night. Drive safe.
Did you want to have one of these?
You know, Cindy might want one. Cindy's $5. She sits here. She sits here.
Yeah, I only, yeah. If you go to my website.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. Do you know the purpose of these songs?
They're deliberately mismatched, so they don't. No, they're, well, see the.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you know anything about it?
Yeah, I have a few
Just to keep warm or?
Yeah, to keep warm, there's,
Nothing medicinal about it.
a portion goes to, I think, environmental causes.
Right, and it's, if you look at the back, it's made with, cotton, 85%, 30%
And then there's business cards back there. And then, there's, Bill, can you help them with the, there's a gift, there's bug retreat that I made, there's a roll-on or a bug spray, and then everyone can have one, I get a chance, that I made with some of my essential oils.
From the universe, it was curled up and it showed right from the door.
I didn't want to just sit in one place and do one task.
Not right now.
It was broken years ago, like a group. So.
In that list,
It just, a couple years ago, I know, I was using it, so it had a so it's right now, I can't pick up it, I can't function, I can't use it, lift things, or hold anything, or drop the sound, and, so, the doctor said, the option that he gave me, he says, you should have a surgery when you have that did not roll well with me, because then I'm gonna have to recover here. I have no guarantee, you know that, how did you do it? And then he said, I had to take the rod out of here, the rod out of my arm. Yes, when I was hit by a drunk driver years ago, just hit and run. And, that's what paid for me. He has to take the rod out of here and the hook out of here. And he said he had a couple of legs that's free. Do I really? I want to get a second. I want to get a second and a third. Yeah, no.
And was this?
And the first, yes, the first orthopedic doctor I went in that practice was so berating and abusive. I said, I'll never go back to him again. And I said, I want another doctor. Tell him what happened.
Yes, you did.
Something small that I can hold my hand. I brought something to carry I have, John gave me one. John gave me one.
We have all three. We have all three. They're all there. It's just one to say. That's why. This is hard. Which one is the most dominant? So all but what you want to do is whichever one is.
In the boxes that we
So now I'm playing every year on my birthday.
Everything okay?
Yes.
Any takers in on the house?
No. About 3 or 4 people look at it. One of ours, an agent, he said, beautiful house, a little too small for me. He said, but it should sell. And 2 other people came and they said, too many things they gotta fix. Too much work.
Everybody comes in and they want.
They want a new kitchen and a new bathroom. New kitchen and bathroom. Yeah. So anyways, somebody's coming to us. Somebody.
Eventually the right person
Yeah, it's a small.
It's not the first time that's happened, really.
I think it is.
You can have
neighborhood.
somebody
Right.
say something and you
But
hear
it's the
something
right
else.
people. You want older children
Yeah.
that could do the stairs.
No, it's what, it's a PTSD for me.
So you don't want to have kids.
Such shock.
Yeah.
Middle-aged couple, grown children.
I can't diagnose.
Still complicated.
Yeah, it's just, it's gotta be, yeah, it's gotta be the right person, so.
It'll be the right person. You were the right person.
I know, and it waited for me, because that was the first house I saw, and then I said, it's too big, I don't want it. So I'm like, oh, and eventually I didn't say anything, but that house is still working. So hopefully, yeah, frustrated, because I just got the,
Everybody wants one more office today. And if the wife has a job, she might need an office as well. And somebody wants a craft room or a kid toy room, you know,
there's plenty of options, yeah, so, right, hopefully.
and everybody wants all these extra rooms for all these, everything has to have a room.
I kept saying, well, you know what, maybe I should have waited on renting a new place, but I knew I had to do that because they teach things so fast.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get stuck every time.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, all I know is,
It's going to work out.
all I know is I felt relieved. Once I had my reading from my psychic in England, and I went through my inner turmoil for that weekend, I said, you know, I was being right, and I felt so driven to do it. I was driven to find the apartment. I was driven. In 3 weeks, I cleaned out everything. The photographs of it's like a year's worth of work I did.
Yes.
But, so I couldn't help, so I was just following that in. But I'm saying now, I'm saying, geez, I hope I should have, I didn't
No,
get the
it'll
apartment
work
too
out.
soon.
It'll work out. Except it's a challenging time of year.
Well, you know what, I asked even the other agents, because I just went to visit them. And she says, this time is fine. She said, even December is usually my strongest month. She said, don't worry about the school year.
I used to see
Teenage years, or, 10, 11, 12, you're very young kids. And
but my original was
And the mother has to come.
It's gotta be, yeah, plus the contemporary
That's far.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I work my ass off for 3 weeks now, just sitting there. I'm sitting in this house that's perfect.
I'm not doing
I can't mess it up. And every time I know, I gotta turn all the lights on, open those shades, and leave the house. And now I feel like it's not my house anymore. So it's sort of weird now. Now I want some action, and it's only been on the market for 3 days. I know, dang, I know. My patience level right now is not good. But that's okay. Because now, yeah. So now for the next 2 weeks, I gotta work on making the presentation. So now I just put that aside. I'll do that. I'll do it here, then I'll do it here.
That he gave me.
What I just did, I just said it's going to be a fundraiser. I just said it's going to be just enough money to cover the expenses.
Anybody who's interested.
What do you
Well, okay, we're really not ready to sign up. It's like, yeah, doesn't have to give that too much. So I'll just tell them again. I'll tell them again.
Yeah, check the website.
Check the website, just, yeah, to sign up for this, and then, because that is the next event. And then next, one after that is yeah. Okay, I'll just give it like $2. Because $33, forget. Again, 10 more, because it's going to cost us 3 hours. So it's going to be, yeah, 33 bucks, we get 10 people, it's $330. That pays for it.
So how are you doing tonight?
Not only me, said Sherry, but I know, this is really I think you enjoyed the program. And give them the time. So give them this particular.
And we also want to tell them, which I should have, that it's going to be experience, it's going to be fun.
Right, yeah, they're playing.
Yep.
Can it refuse or reconnect that?
I was sitting at the computer and I was paying attention to time and I just looked at my clock and I was that it's 7:30. No, I can't come to the last class. I'm leaving to go down
I don't really know what happened.
to your Philly that day. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, get in there with everything else to be
He wants to play it, and that doesn't roll well. But I know somebody who did that, she said the hip, and the either more than the original thing that she went
You know, yeah, I heard
I didn't make enough copies, but if you go to my website.
I asked him for a card. I met her at the party.
Yeah, because they were saying they wished he would talk before and not be reading.
You are fun. You're the epitome of fun. Oh my gosh. I knew you had some, you're great energy. You'd be great respondent.
Yes, I think I know.
She said, "Spiritus was easy." And she said, "You're perfect at me, and I'm not it." Okay, I'm not
And you can learn how to
And right after
Lindsay opens the door, what's going on here?
It doesn't change falls off.
Not a whole person.
it's like having coffee. So it's not one or the other.
You got some kind of.
It's a lot. It's compensating this. Yeah, because this side is compensating for this side. Because I drive like this, I drive like this, and I use my arm. Yeah, I try to do everything with my left right now.
So if you work with the Vata, you're jumping in fast, fast.
I think she's also.
But I'm getting it, it's going like this, so it's going on reverse. So to me, that's Kapha, but it could be because it's that time of the night. So the best time to do that is. Yes, I was on the back.
All of her abilities. So I said, how do we
She doesn't want me to. She's here.
Yeah, and then my cards are in the back.
In between.
And if you have a handout, what's in the bottom?
What's like the regular. But I can't control it.
Now, I was conscious of all this happening.
You want to be involved and you want to buy some part of it.
Wow. The cells were healed. The cells were healed, so they didn't have to stop it. Wow.
I had some.
It's amazing what cells, it's amazing what cells can do.
And when he got to me, and he looked at me, and he said,
No idea why. For years they've been talking about technology. That works with your consciousness. It heals you based on your consciousness.
Clear.
Well,
So basically, they're putting you in this machine and there's
Yeah, it's just so funny. You're like a rainbow.
This is
What makes this coffee special? I mean, you know, aside from sticking his name on it. It's brewed at the Coles Bay.
With the parents, because they gave me
But I don't know, this doctor says he can't guarantee anything, and he's talking about this every time.
reincarnate. He just died, and it's like, yeah, you know.
Well, I really want to put myself in all that. It's not true, that's the wrong.
And I'm like, this is so, it affects you.
It was used in the original, I understand. It was, in the original surgery, when I got hit by that truck, they didn't use it. They put the rod in my arm and they didn't use it. When I fell, it broke the fuse.
If I see that somebody's running this way, that way, the other way, I don't want to introduce
Maybe if he sits down and
relaxes.
yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
It looks like they're booked for through February.
Yeah, but February, I didn't hear him mention February.
I thought he did.
Mentioned January.
Thought he did. Maybe he didn't. Well,
Now they have a new one coming up in November.
yeah.
Yes, it's
November was open on the
It
flyer.
was, now it's, I don't think I can make that one because that's close to Thanksgiving. But the December one, yeah.
The previous meeting had really.
There's a few more people than this, but it's not.
This was like 13. The other one had like 20 or 22.
I thought I counted 18 tonight.
Oh, I think you mentioned it at the party. I think you were, yeah, I think you had mentioned it.
He was very good.
Yeah, she had sent me a
Charlie.
On what?
About, you know, I can't go through one. He doesn't have as much influence. It doesn't.
As long as it's not on the
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
aggressive.
You know who's the name?
That's me.
Right, because of the name.
I know, because I see him every week, so.
You see him every week. Oh, good. Okay, you're an instructor.
I have to get her.
Well, like I say, he doesn't have control.
I would think I would think when he's instructing, he's day mode, this is regular job, unless they have it. I think. He doesn't have the pressure, the ongoing pressure to approach it.
And how you guys doing? Good? Mingling and introducing yourselves? Oh, okay.
Well, she had both arms. Yeah, that's your nature, right? Yeah, I'm like. Well, then, I was this morning, I was in the pool at 8 o'clock this morning. Just a hay ride from my house to Brooklyn at 10:30, and I was there till I was over at about 2. You're the same, right? That's okay. You know, we need to
Is that the party? Is that the party?
Does it make sense?
I can help you with all of that.
Yes, I have to look at
Technically, we gotta go. Okay, we're wrapping this
Yeah,
up.
you snip that background, so you know.
Yeah, I made my own.
Oh, somebody. Yeah, you said
And it's right now, it's pretty. Too bad. Don't worry what's behind you. Didn't she say you're worried about the past?
This evening.
That's why the rear mirror.
My list is getting big. The list is getting big. Warning, there's going to be a point where they say, you're a spammer. You have too many people on your list.
no, you got a long way to go. And you know what I noticed? Remember we put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of likes. Nobody shows up, but I got a bunch of likes. Which means you're getting noticed.
She said we want to.
Did you guys get any new bug spray or anything? Did you guys get this? I just made this the other day with my son. And then this is the roll on.
The new spot in Franklin Place. Right by the Pickett. No, not there, on the other side, by the barber shop. On the other side.
Thank you. Take care.
Really good.
Do you want to spray or roll? Yeah.
Brand new place.
Did you like what
We went to eat ice cream, but for the most part, you sit down and they soak your feet, and then you work on your back. That's about 15 minutes, about 10 minutes. And then you switch, and you lay down this one. Like it on you, open your eyes, knees, lower down the whole first one. And relax 15 minutes.
See all additional books they have on the floor?
I bought 2 books.
Did you?
Yeah, I didn't even see the extra ones.
Yeah, he said there's
You
more.
know what? I just remember what the parking lot is. There's a church. There's another church, a big church.
every complimentary, this is a retreat that I did.
Yes, the one they just opened, so it's a brand new place. you go 10 minutes.
Because this,
And that's what we always do.
I had a lot of well, no, this is like, I have to decide whether we're gonna go for surgery or not.
Right, right, but even in that, over that.
I have a hip
You feel better over.
Oh, you can.
Absolutely, positively.
What? You find other things to do.
Yeah.
Make the time. You want a pen?
You're absolutely right. He told me there's this surgery with a piece of my head. It got my head going. He wants to tear a piece of a chunk of my head to heal my breast. It was the chunk of the head that I had.
More boxes in this.
I have to look at this. I don't know.
Right by Starbucks in front. Give it to somebody. Sure. Right across the street.
This and then I'm gonna have to film it. Have it.
60 minutes. And they put now on your shoulders, you push it in, and then, and while you're soaking your feet, and then you turn around. And say, blanket.
It's like a poison, right?
You just relax, and it's wonderful.
Or is that
I think it just moves stuff around
Oh, I
and
think so. My son, he works out.
yes, yes.
And he said it takes a little weight. He tries to do it. He goes to Dr. Marinelli once a month, and he tries to have the massage. And so, you know, once.
Because he's under stress.
Oh my gosh, he's been so very stressed. He loves his job. That's why he does that sometimes. And that's why for us it's easy because Christmas, birthday, we just give him gift cards.
I'm to the point where I just need a chocolate. I need, it's gotta be consumable. Just dinner, you know, go out to dinner, but massages,
I haven't had one in like, I can't even
massage. Well, some, you know what? People do it. Some people, I have two friends, then their sisters, one hates it.
I don't hate it, I love it, I just have to get it.
Oh, you tell them.
You tell them. You tell them.
I mean, if it's good, like always, when I start, I always give them the or if it's too hard,
I tell
that's
them.
not for you. But maybe it's again, that's the personality. You know, really, that's what go for it. Highlighter. Memories. But if it's sometimes it goes too long.
My portfolio was so insane. I remember when I told my staff and he was
What happened to me?
I don't want to hurt your feelings. You're paying for it. You're paying for it.
Pay for it. You used to treat me bad.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Because number one, I had I'm very careful.
Well, then, you know what? If you do it with the foot, that's where they start. Don't do it.
Or in fact, or they don't want to, just to be very
we used to get
right here. There's a Thai place.
You were here for the last event and you taped it.
Yeah.
So when does that become available?
It's on.
It's on now?
Yeah,
It posts immediately if you go to my website, The Bridge of Truth, and there's a different number of tabs. One of them is videos. What you want to do is you want to look at the tab that says live. So that tab applies during the live broadcast, but also if you
Hi, everyone.
replay of the live.
We're going to get started. We're going
So
to resume.
all the events that I've done
We have to
last
get out of
year
here by
are
10
there.
o'clock, so we'll go for another 20 minutes now.
Is there a link
And then,
from their
we'll
website to
finalize
the
this.
physical website, to your
So,
website?
let me find folks in the kitchen.
They should, yes. After the fact, they should post.
You gave me your business card, so I still have that.
If you just go, if you go to the Bridge of Truth, and you'll find it. If you go to the live tab for this specific, on some of the events, I edited and made like excerpts. Those would be in the videos tab. Like I think I did that for Gary. I posted an edited version of something that he did.
That sounds familiar. That sounds familiar.
Okay, are we all back? Yep. Anybody left in the kitchen? All right, so just to recap with what we think about Ayurveda, is one of the main things is there's called 5 pillars of nutrition. Okay, and a pillar means support, something that supports each other, the pillars that hold up buildings. So there's 5 pillars that really support each other when we're talking about the nutrition of our body and to bring vibrancy and health and well-being. Okay, so the first one is food. Okay, and as we talked about that, about all the different foods. Okay, second one is water. You can't go without water. Our body's at 80% water. Okay, so but water means fluid. Don't want people like say, well, fluid is water. Tea is water, fluids versus solid foods. So when we talk about water, also, just the fluids that we drink, okay? And just pay attention to how much that is. Because that's a difference. Food is solid, water is all of the liquids that we embody. Then we have the breath. Now we can go without food and water for a while, for a couple of days or so, right? But we can't go without our breath for more than a few moments, right? So breath. And then that's where the breathing and the pranayama comes in. And then the 5 senses. So we have food, water, the breath, and then the 5 senses. And again, the choices that we do, are they pleasing to the senses? Like we're meant to have a beautiful, vibrant, happy life. Well, who's the one that's running the show? Who's the one that's making all the choices? You are. And so when our minds become troubled, we could get some news from people that could be very upsetting, but how are we going to process that? And how, when we take in these things that we hear and see from life, how do we not let that take our wellness away? How do we not let it take our happiness away? How do we not let it take our vibrancy away? All right? And who's in charge of that is ourselves and our outlook. Okay? And then the last one is the emotion and the mind. Emotion and the mind, they have on the same line. So it's food, water, breath, the 5 senses, and the emotions in our minds. And they're all pillars that when they all work in harmony with each other, that's when we have the best health and vibrancy. Okay? So that was just a really beautiful little tidbit too. So what I'd like for you to do is I'd like to bring you into an experience of what Vata, Pitta, and Kapha feel like. All right? So if you can stand up, or if you're going to sit in the chair, I want you to shake your arms around, so I want to make sure you don't slap anybody next to you. So we want to be a little friendly here, and we don't want to be smacking people around. But so just shake out your arms, right? Now bring it into one arm and shake your wrist, and then your elbow, and bounce your knees, and bring the arm up overhead. Go, ah! And then the other hand. and the other. And then both, and then both hands. And they go, whoa! And you ever see a wet dog? Whoa! Now, how do you feel? Vata. But can you feel a little uppity, a little airy, a little, feel that? This is what we would call Vata, okay? You know, there are, each one is beautiful. You wouldn't say that a daisy is any more beautiful than a rose than a chrysanthemum, okay? But a daisy is delicate. We would say that's a Vata flower. A red rose is full of passion. We would say that's a Pitta flower. Chrysanthemum is so strong, in the fall, they're out there in the snow, you could step, they're fine. There's, we'd say those would be Kapha, but they're all beautiful, right? Okay, so that's that one. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to bring your hands to your abdomen, and then we're going to take a breath in, and we're going to go, ha! Ha, okay? Now, right. Ha! 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 Now how you feel? Pitta. Pitta. Oh. Okay? Alright? So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the feet out a little bit. And then we're going to bring the hands to the hips, and we're going to exhale, we're going to lower our hands down. We're going to lower our hips down, right? And then we're going to come down, up, right? And now we're going to come down and hold this, right? Now pick up one foot, the other foot. Ha! 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 Here, feel that down. Ha! 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 Now come up. Now what do you feel? Kapha. Feel that Kapha energy? That downward energy? So that's just a little bit of an experience of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And then so you can have a seat. And then and so I just want to let you, we're going to ask you a question. You're driving down the highway and somebody cuts you off. Okay? What do you think a Vata person would do? They're very delicate and they get very nervous. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to be like, oh my God, they almost hit me. Oh, 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 oh. Right? Now, what do you think a Pitta person is going to do? That road rage, yeah? And what do you think a Kapha person would be doing? They're like, wow, that guy's in a hurry. I better slow down. I'm going to go 5 miles slower. Have a nice day. Be careful. You're going a little fast there. Watch where you're going. Okay? See the different personalities? And then somebody's going, when they go to the airport and they're traveling, right? And Vatas will be like, oh my God, am I going to get there? Where am I going? And then they're checking everything and looking at everything. Oh my God, to make my play. And you can see people as they walk too into the airport. You can just see how they're hopping around and Pitta people plan things out. They're going to look at that map of the airport. They're going to know before they go, well, I'm going to park here. I'm going to go here. We're going to get this time and this and that and this and that. And they're going to be very, very, and they're going to walk and they're going to know exactly where they're going. Right? Pitta people. Right? Kapha people, do I have to go? Are you really going to make me go? You sure I have to go? All right, I'm coming. And they'd be walking slowly through you guys go ahead. I'll meet you at the gate. I know, okay. So you can see the whole beautiful different personalities of the different people, and you just have to see where do you fit into all of these different scenarios, And does anyone have any questions? Anybody have any questions about anything at the moment? So you understand about what a Vata person would be like and what a Pitta person would be like and what a Kapha person.
Do you ever change from one to the other?
Well, yeah, because it depends on the situation. You could be in a really peaceful place, and then a phone call could come in, or an event could happen, and then all of a sudden it's, you could just change, because they're all in a state of flux, always changing. And one always kind of wants to be in charge. You know, and then what mindfulness is what I found in myself. What mindfulness is the mother that's kind of watching these children and say, hey, you gotta calm down. Hey, you wake up a little bit. Hey, you know, that inner knowing for ourselves. And when we don't pay attention, it's like when the parents go away on vacation for a weekend and the kids have a party in your house. You know, like they just, when we're not watching, they can just kind of go out and just wreak havoc, and then you have to say, okay, wait a minute now, everyone come back, everybody regroup, everybody come, you know, things like that. So, you know, and then there's different parts of our body, like Kapha lives in the lungs. Talk about moisture, water and moisture. What's constantly being breathed in? Air. Those lungs have to be wet all the time. Because if they're not, then how would we sustain our lives? You see what I mean? So Kapha lives in the lungs, and then Pitta lives in the digestive area, in the solar plex here with all the fire, and then Vata lives in the colon. Vata is the colon. What's constantly moving? The colon constantly has to go like this. The peristalsis in the colon has to keep moving things through. Has to be constantly moving. So where Vata lives is in the colon. The only thing is they all like to go on vacation. You know, so Pitta wants to go on vacation and comes out as a rash through your skin. You know, Kapha goes on vacation and then it goes into your stomach, and then your stomach acid isn't working properly, and then things can become slow and just slow down and not be able to digest things so much. So that's how they become imbalanced, is because it's when they spread out and they move away from their main where they live, and then they're focusing on different parts of the body that we have to then address to get them to come back to where they're supposed to be. And so did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Cool.
Is one dominant for a person, and maybe you're switching throughout different periods or cycles, but you go back to your dominant?
Yes. Yeah. So there's there's questionnaires out there. There's Ayurvedic questionnaires, but the way if you filled out that questionnaire over your whole lifetime, you're going to get one answer, okay? But if you filled out that same questionnaire of how you feel now in this moment, you're going to get a different answer. But the thing is, when you live closest to the way you naturally are over your life, then that's when you have the best health. But that's why we need to treat the moment. We need to treat the moment as saying, which one of these is really making me feel uncomfortable? Which one is one of these? I don't feel well, right? If you say, I don't feel well, which one of these guys is the dominant one in that? And that's what you have to treat. So that's what I'm saying. When in doubt, treat Vata, because Vata is all of the movement. Vata is the main culprit of the whole thing. Like Pitta and Kapha, they don't have any ability to move, because the only one that has movement is Vata with the air. And so Vata comes along and takes them for a ride. Think of a hot flash. You see hot and the word flash? So we stop making, the women stop making hormones, and because of that, the body stores hormones in the body beforehand. That's why a lot of women gain weight, because the estrogen is stored in the fat in our body for a future. But then all of a sudden we go into menopause and we don't have it. Then the signal comes out, hey, I need a little estrogen. Can you go into that storage? And the only way it's going to be released from the fat, it has to be heated. So then Vata comes along with the Pitta, and it heats up the body, and then it releases the stored estrogen into the body. And that's what a hot flash is. I gave an Ayurvedic talk one time on hot flashes. It was pretty fun at an Ayurvedic conference. And, so that's why I said, when in doubt, when you really just don't know, but you just know you don't feel well, and you just can't figure out exactly which of the doshas is, treat Vata. Because Vata is the one that makes us anxious. Vata is the one that makes us worried. Vata is the one that So, because you could say there's different kinds of depression that somebody could have. You could have a Vata depression, or a Pitta depression, or a Kapha depression. It doesn't mean depression, just because you think depression is like heavy, you just think heavy, right? But again, you have to ask, well, what are your other feelings, And then based on what they describe, then you have to see which of these descriptions, which category do they fall into. So.
When you say, then you treat that one or you treat this one, you mean food-wise, but what other ways can you treat an imbalance?
Well, you treat it through meditation, and thoughts, and then you treat it through exercise, or different yoga things, different yoga poses, each yoga pose has different characteristics. Half moon is this one where you keep going side to side, and it's cooling, and it's calming, and there's this whole moon series thing, and then they have the sun salutation, which is a whole other thing that warms you up, so, and it's funny, there's hot yoga, right? Pitta people do not need more hot. The lightness of things is going to increase it, but how many Pitta people are in the hot yoga classes? All of them. So it's just funny how, and then so Pitta people need cool, calm, and collective. So cool, calm, and collective thoughts, cool, calm, and collective actions, cool, calm, and collective television, cool, calm, and collective books, cool, calm, and collective. That would be to calm down the agitation and fire. I can't diagnose anything, but I call it what the hell syndrome sometimes that I suffer from, and it's not a pleasant thing, as my husband will probably tell you, when I'm in one of my what the hell syndromes, right, Bill? So again, yeah, there's many different ways. So food is one of them, but I think our emotional mindset is also another one, and pranayama. So if you're, this is another important thing to remember. Every emotion has a different way of breathing. Every one of them. So think about it. How do you breathe when you're angry? Right? How do you breathe when you're scared? How do you breathe when you're happy? Do you see? Every emotion has, your breath changes. And this is where you would be able to say, what am I feeling, and what breath would be a good breath for me to breathe. Now think about your peaceful breath. I asked you that earlier, didn't I? What is your peaceful way of breathing? Noticing what it is. And then when you start breathing that breath, then you can start to feel peaceful. Right? So that's another way that you can balance the doshas is through pranayama, through the breath. Yes.
Nancy, in your outline you've got a section on day doshas. Could you go over that, please?
Yeah, those were the ones that we were talking about, the different times of the day. So from 2 to 4 in the morning, or 2 to 6 in the morning, that would be Vata time of day. And that is when, now, in the metaphysical world, we believe that there's a veil, right, that keeps us from seeing the divine. But the veil is the thinnest at that time of the morning. So when you live in an ashram, or if you live in monks and all of these sacred places, a lot of them get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to start their prayers and start their chanting. And at 4 o'clock in the morning, they feel that is the time that the veil is the thinnest, and that's when we can have the most communication with the people on the other side. Okay? Is this something you already know? Yes? Yeah. And then even my teacher, Dr. Shekhar, he married his wife in Chennai in a Vedic ceremony, and they were married at 4 o'clock in the morning at that moment. To a lot of people. And so that's Vata. Vata is air and space. So that would be Vata time of day. And then you have from 10 to 2, then you have, that's the, from 6 to 10 is Kapha time. That's when we're just getting up, we're still feeling tired, we're still kind of sleepy, we're still kind of like getting ourselves up and going. So that would be considered Kapha because of the energy that we feel. And then from 10 to 2, in the middle of in lunchtime, that's the Pitta time of day. That's when the sun's in the middle of the sky. The sun in the middle of the sky, that's when the sun is at its strongest. And that's when they recommend that we eat our biggest meal at that time. Because our digestion is like an oven at that time. But then it repeats itself in the afternoon, but things change. So then we go back in the afternoon from 2 to 6, that's Vata. But then that's when the food that we eat are moving through our intestines and eliminations and things like that. And then 6 to 10 in the evening, that's Kapha time again, but that's earth. But that's when we want to prepare ourselves to go to sleep. You know, we want to be, so a yoga exercise at night would be the moon salutation to cool us and calm us down and relax us. Whereas at Kapha time in the morning, the sun salutation would be better because we got the whole day ahead of us that we got to get our energy going for. You know, and then at 10 to 2 at night, that's considered Pitta time of day, but our digestion is the flame of a candle at that point. And what the fire element does at that time is all of the food and everything that we ate that day, it's transitioning them into nutrients to be the intelligence for the next day. You know, so, and when we've talked about Pitta being loving the intelligence, the whole thing, the vibrancy. And the vibrancy has the fire element to us. You know, the glow of our skin and all of that, and even the word vibrancy does have some of that beautiful fire energy. And when we feel dim, right? When we feel full and vibrant, and then when the fire dims a little bit, we feel dim and not well, right? So thanks. That's the doshas of the day. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay. Yes.
For 7 and 8, you can do the balance your doshas, and I do know, of course, that Ayurveda is really for lifestyle. Let's keep it really, what works the best in the fastest duration?
So, she would want to know what works the best in the fastest time, like to balance the doshas. Like what would be one of the things that would work, in, you know. That's a very good question, and because as much as we want things to be done faster, things have to take its time. And so the impatience, Pitta people are impatient, like I want it now, I want it now, I want it now, you know. So I think gratitude, patience, caring, love, evoking so much self-care, admiring ourselves, knowing how beautiful we are. And keep in mind, if you say you have something, even though you might not really physically have it, you have it. In your mind, if you have a thought in your mind, you have it. You know, so some people come in and say, you know, I have, what did the person say the other day? She was telling me that she had something. And I told her, I said, well, you do have it. You know, she goes, well, how do you know I have it? Because you just told me. Because, again, our energy follows our minds. Whatever we're thinking, our energies will go there. So, you know, so if we say, you know, I have anxiety, you keep telling yourself that, you have anxiety. But if you keep saying, I'm cool, calm, and collective, and you keep repeating that, that's what we have mantras. You know, the mantras, you just keep repeating things, you know, because, you know, the way that the mind is, and, you know, whatever that state of the mind is, that's what we have, you know. So what I find is breathing helps a lot, you know, and the outlook of your mind helps a lot.
Well, that helps with everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So what I'm kind of really asking is having streamlined. So I think what you're saying is that, I mean, I studied Ayurveda with Dr. Kapha, I mentioned years ago,
Mm-hmm.
several years, but it's just so broad and wide. All the things we have to do for our health sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
You can spend the whole day taking care of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you have to keep it simple and just start with a few things and just find out the things that ring true to you and that you really, really like, and that are fun. Like, if it's not fun, why are we doing any of this? If it's not fun, you know, we need to create. You know, who's the one that chooses things with that, you know, to, like, I'm going to make this day so pleasant. Okay, who's the one that's going to do that? You know, but every time I went to Kapha for 18 months, and every month we came home with more and more things to do. This is your homework, do this. This is your homework, do this. So we all came back, and the one woman said, if I lived in a monastery and I had nothing else to do all day with my life, I would be able to do everything that every homework assignment they tell me to do. You can't. But the main thing is in the moment, scan your body, say, how are you? In a very loving, kind way. How are you, dear? How are you feeling? What's going on? Then, when you scan and you're discovering all these things, then in your divine wisdom, what is the opposite? Because it's the only way that you're going to make a change is you have to do something of the opposite characteristic. Does that make sense?
Sure. If you're nervous, you need to do something calm. If
Right.
you're hot, you need to do something cool.
Right. But, and again, there's lots of choices, lots and lots of choices. You know, that's where it gets confusing after a while. But the thing is, then the next question is, well, what's the simplest thing that I can think of? What's the simplest thing? What's an easy, pleasing option for me? And then you see if anything can come to mind for you. You know, because again, it's when we make the burden less than making it more. Okay? Because then it's that burden. And then if you have a little Pitta personality on top of that, that burden then turns it to, what the hell? Right? So so we have to just try to lighten ourselves, lighten the load to the best that we can. So, and then that's nice when you have all of these beautiful people and all of this beautiful metaphysical thing. All of these people have so much divine wisdom that they, that you can just ask these beautiful people, like, hey, I'm feeling like, could you shed some light on this situation for me? And that's what we all share and everything. Right? We got to get ready to wrap up. So any last questions? Everyone good? All right. And so thank you so much for having
Nancy,
me,
thank
and
you so
really
much.
appreciate
Let's give
it.
Nancy a round of applause, please. Nancy, thank you so much for your generosity during the break. I noticed you spent the whole time here taking care of us as opposed to taking refreshments, so thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And there's a giveaway. I created this. I went on a yoga retreat last June, and I knew up in upstate New York at a Zen monastery, and I knew we were going to be in the forest walking, and I have all of these oils, so I found a recipe for a bug repellent, and then I was going on a yoga retreat, so I called it Bug Retreat. So that's how I figured the name. But they're all beautiful organic essential oils. This is made with grapeseed. This has a little distilled water and alcohol and witch hazel in it. But if you take these, make sure you shake them up first before you use it because of the oils. But please make sure you go home with one.
Oh.
Okay? They're free.
Thank you.
Okay? So.
Thank you,
all right.
Nancy. So on the back of the room, there are products there that Nancy has. There are also some books there for sale at $2 each. These are metaphysical books that people donate to the center. So please, make yourself available. And our next event is November 3rd, and I've had a couple of questions about it since it's not on the website yet. So I'll tell you, it's a Sunday afternoon from 2 to 5. Okay, the fee is going to be nominal, like about $33. Again, it's really a 3-hour presentation on improvisational leadership. There'll be lots of theories from the Kabbalion, from the Kabbalion in terms of laws of polarity, things like that, into duality, into intuition, and into improvisation. I guarantee at the end of that you will also have lots and lots of fun, all right, which we always do. So by all means, please come by, tell your friends about it. We'll be putting it up on the website within the next couple of days, all right? I'm sorry? November 3rd, Sunday, from 2 to 5. All right. So if you want to register, you can just email us but in about 24 to 48 hours, we'll get that up on the website where you can formally register. All right. Folks, thanks for everything. We'll see you soon. Good evening. And if you want some extra calmer points, you can put the chairs in the back for us.
Again, you gotta read it, I'm sure. And that's the thing, just,